Painful experiences are often more memorable than happy memories. So, Cherry Studios must have poured so much malice into Silksong in order to create a game that would go down in history, right? Using the word difficult to describe Silksong is not entirely appropriate. For many players, they feel more discomfort and anger, and these emotions are transformed into reviews on Steam, causing this work to fall to mostly negative reviews in the Chinese region. But this 8-year-old sequel, Hollow Knight, might simply be maintaining its consistent philosophy. It's simply the progress of the times, the difference in popularity, and the difference between starting a new game and having a complete guide that has created polarized user reviews. You can't deny that it boasts superior production quality over its predecessor, pushing the silver-like stacking to an extreme, presenting players with an incredibly vast and detailed world. So, whether you love or hate Silksong, it's perfectly normal. Although it seems that Silksong will likely see a reversal of reputation in the future, for now I can only give my evaluation of it from the perspective of the initial experience of pioneering it. It's great, but also brought me too much suffering. The map in Silksong is arguably one of the highest quality in the genre. Each scene is connected by numerous interconnected walkways, making the entire map feel seamlessly integrated. The textile city shifts from its core area to its outskirts, and the transitions between areas are mostly natural. I really like the way Silksong divides a game into 3 acts, because each of its acts can bring a distinctly different experience to players. In the first act, your experience is relatively linear, since the objectives are clear and ability locks often restrict your choices to 1 or 2 paths. Most players' paths follow similar paths, roughly tracing a zigzag path from Skeleton Bottom to the Wilderness and finally to Bellheart Town. This design may be one of the reasons why Cherry Studios initially believed that Silksong was more suitable for new players. Of course, this section will also provide you with early access to difficult side areas like Hunter's Path, as well as the possibility of bypassing when facing truly difficult challenges. For example, when you face the last judge who must walk 365 miles before each challenge, there's another way to enter the Holy City. That is, to borrow the path from the Sin Road and the Corrupted Swamp. By the second act, you'll feel a significant increase in your freedom of exploration. For example, you can prioritize which of the 3 main melodies to collect first or later, or you can completely ignore them and explore the Holy Castle at will. You can also choose more targeted strategies to quickly improve your power, such as prioritizing the double jumping gear bee. This section, while primarily focused on the main quest, is actually quite short, with the vast majority of the content consisting of optional side quests. The third act is for those who want to go further and continue collecting and completing the game. With the teleportation ability, you can save a lot of time on the road, and the super jump allows you to go deep into the final hidden area and overcome the most terrifying difficulties. Throughout the entire Textile City map, the puzzles don't present excessive difficulty. Few key-like abilities correspond to specific mechanisms, but rather rely on movement. This emphasizes Bumblebee's high mobility while allowing players to rely solely on instinct to determine which areas are currently inaccessible and which are accessible. The most exploratory aspect of Silksong is that upon receiving the map of each area, a portion is outlined with dotted lines, both informing you of surrounding terrain and highlighting recommended areas for you to visit first. And once you explore the area and return to your chair, the map is redrawn with solid lines, creating a hand-drawn map-like feel, much like in Yggdrasil. However, you still have to buy or pick up the map of each area at a designated location. In the early stage, it's okay with the guidance of the map sister singing, but in the middle stage, it's more like a matter of luck. For example, the map of the Whispering Library hidden in the ceiling passage. It is very likely that you can't find it even if you explore the entire area. Of course, finding your own map is just a minor bad civilization compared to Silksong's other problems. If there's one thing that's most detrimental to the overall exploration experience, it's probably the scarcity of chairs on the map. After all, no matter how tough the enemy or how difficult the 365-mile journey, if there were more save points, it would probably be easily solved. In reality, most of the jumping tricks in Silksong don't require the same high precision as in Celeste, and the monsters' moves aren't strictly difficult. But the low margin for error and the long time it takes to concentrate force you to try again and again, while chairs were practically the same in the previous game. After all, it's now 8 years later, and bonfires and Souls-like games have evolved to accommodate player habits. Even Elden Circle added a large number of Malika keystones, allowing players to recover and fight bosses directly after death. Other Souls-like games, like Lord of the Fallen, have faced criticism from players for their bonfires being too far away. What's more, Silksong is packed with fake chairs. You might just sit down on one and be whipped by a mechanism or plunge into a pit of maggots. There are even chairs you pay for, only to find they're stuck, and you have to go through a long jumping process to unlock them. Perhaps only certain media outlets can boast about the creativity of game design at times like these. But for players, it's nothing more than pure malice. Even more frustrating is when you're about to open a new chair or grab a map, only to find you're out of money. Honestly, the beads in Silksong aren't very abundant, and only a few enemies drop them. The number of strings given in the maze isn't very high either, even ignoring the losses caused by death. Even if you complete all the side quests, there's still a significant gap between the rewards and the requirements. If you want more tools, you'll undoubtedly need far more money to buy shells and ammunition. Even the reward system in Silksong is tinged with malice. Defeating a boss without any drops is fine, but when you discover not only are you denied a chair, but a long string of jumping music plays afterward, it's a bit infuriating. Furthermore, Silksong is not immune to the practice of having you fight a series of small monsters, and then suddenly giving you a boss just when you're expecting a reward. To put it bluntly, Silksong could have avoided the constant barrage of negative feedback it's receiving from players, but it doesn't. Instead, it treats everyone as a hardcore player simply seeking a challenge, rewarding you with even more difficult tasks. But the millions of people who've played the game since its release, how many of those people actually are? Many players may have noticed that you can explain the scarcity of beads in this game from another perspective. Only humanoid monsters can drop currency, and the workers have very little money. This matter itself may be part of the game narrative. You can't deny the excellence of Silksong in its storytelling. You remember the moment you first entered the Holy Castle, where you had to pay for each chair you used. Paying your money into confessional only meant hearing a tape recorder urging you to get back to work, while the slaves muttered, "Work harder," dreaming of rising to the top. These few elements vividly capture the life of the lower classes in the Holy Castle. Gamersky. Silksong also features a host of memorable NPCs, like Chakra, the map sister whose singing voice can be heard wherever you go. The Night Garment is Mount Zaza, always the first to step forward. The residents of Bellheart Town, who offer you a house. And the Flea Brigade, who hold celebrations for you even at the end of the world, telling you, the game never ends. You can play as long as you want. Gamersky. For me, the most unforgettable thing is definitely the little pilgrim Shelma, who came all the way from Skeleton Bottom Town to the Holy Song Alliance, when she sang again to bless the bumblebee before the final battle. It was as if time had gone back, just like when you first met her in front of the Bone Gate. It is precisely these stories and the countless details that permeate the game that make this experience so impressive even after it ends, when you get to the true ending and calm down to savor it. Even if you have encountered a lot of hardships, it is difficult to hate Silksong. Of course, I personally hope that there's less such suffering. The era of tool hegemony. The combat system of Silksong has undergone significant changes compared to the previous game due to the addition of emblems. Simply put, you have up to 7 attack modules to choose from in the game. Each module comes with a unique passive and different tool equipment slots. As a result, a wide variety of combinations are derived. For example, the Architect, one of the most wheelchair-like emblems in the game, allows you to carry 3 throwing weapons or traps. It is a prop-based genre, and its own attack module is also very suitable for combat. The charged attack has terrifying multi-stage damage, because the Architect allows you to use bindings to replenish items. This style actually has a unique blue health state. After entering it, you can automatically regenerate health over time. Combined with various high damage items that can be replenished, you can basically dodge and kill bosses with just a few attacks. However, it also has a significant disadvantage. The powerful items consume a lot of shells, another currency in the game. so you may quickly use up your shells that you have saved for a long time. Of course, the other emblems aren't weak either. For example, the Wanderer has an incredibly fast attack speed, allowing you to engage the opponent in a continuous sword fight with just a few clicks. The Crone has a fast attack speed and a large range, and the Silken Binding deals decent damage while healing. The Reaper has a large enough range, has an anti-air dragon attack and a vertical slash, and its slots are well balanced, making it suitable for map running. As mentioned above, the newly added throwing and trap items are actually excellent solutions for many of the game's tougher monsters. For example, the fully automatic attack drone Gearbee can accurately hit any flying enemy, no matter how strange their trajectory. The multi-stage damage of the Gearblade and the Stinger are almost universally effective against ground monsters, and most of the upgrade tools can be purchased in the store, making it much simpler than the pale oil quest required to enhance weapons. Therefore, the equipment system of Silksong can be said to be a complete upgrade compared to the previous work. It not only plays a very good effect in the game, but also makes the combat part more fun. Except for the handle keys when slashing and using tools, it is still not very comfortable. Overall review: perhaps years from now, when you look at Hollow Knight, Silksong's rave reviews and a guidebook that thoroughly explores every corner of the game, you'll wonder why so many people criticize upon its release. But players' emotions are real. Their pain is genuine, and none of this should be ignored when reflecting the true spirit of a game. I have no doubt that Silksong will be Game of the Year in many people's minds, but given my limited understanding of similar games and my experience of barely completing the true ending in just over 60 hours, my praise for Silksong's maps, narrative, and combat is undoubtedly pale and not enough for core players. I can only present the experience I felt as best as possible and record the rough edges of its birth, even if these may have been discussed to death among the player community long ago. Silksong may eventually become a monument, but its foundation should also be inscribed with the stories of those who were wounded by its brilliance. This does not diminish its greatness, but rather makes its image more complete, more authentic, and more worth remembering.